Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, Mark.
Good afternoon. Now, do you remember last lesson we were talking about Jilin province, yes?
Yeah.
Now, what did we talk about?
Talked about a museum.
A museum. Now, where was that museum?
In Changchun.
Okay. Now, in Changchun. So, what was its name?
The name is Palace Museum of Manchurian Regime.
Very good. So, now you remember what we talked about and where it is. Okay, it was a very good start. Can you tell me what is the name of this room?
This room. 那大家还记得这一间房间的名字是什么吗？ I remembered actually. It's Tongde Hall.
Tongde Hall.
Hall, yeah, Tongde Hall.
Tongde Hall. Now, what is so special about that room?
This room recovered the past appearance. So it looks the same as what it did in the past.
So you're telling me that this room is a fully reconstruction of the room back from 1936. So everything in this room is what you would see if you went back in time to 1936 and stood in that room. It would be exactly the same. Now, to do that, how would they do it? Because remember, we are in the year 2022. But this room has been designed, okay, to look like the room in 1938. So how could you do that? How could you make this room appear in today's world to look like the past? How would you do it? What would you need?
那大家可以思考一下，对于复原过去的这个历史文物，我们需要做哪些工作呢？ I think maybe you can check some paper and some documents.
Documents, yes.
Yes, and maybe some pictures. And with the high advanced techniques to do the replica.
So first of all, okay, we would need to locate this place. Now, with anything, somebody has to draw it, yes? Everything is drawn and recorded. It's kept as a log. So if you built something, there'll be details of how big walls were, how big the land was. So that's one start. So they would have found the old plans. And like you said, they would have had pictures of the room. So using pictures, using documents, detailed plans of what the room was like, and more importantly, they could have actually used human resources. Because somebody may be alive or was alive to describe this room because they had been there, they had worked there, they knew exactly what was there. So, placing all that together, this room was recreated to look like the original back in 1938. Now, with a museum, it needs to be looked after, yes? Now, people like to go to museums. Do you like to go to museums?
Oh, yes, I like going to museums.
Yeah? They have a very special feel when you go there. You may be walking in today's world, but technically, if you go to this place, you are walking in the past because everything you're seeing around you is from a different time period to you. So we like to see this and to read about our history and learn what went on back then. Now, with the museum, if you remember, this palace has 3 or 4 levels. Do you remember? Does it have 3 or 4 levels, this palace?
I remember the exhibition hall has 4 levels. 1 is underground and 3 are on the ground.
So we're saying 4 levels, yeah? 1 underground and 3 above ground. Now, we are going to look at the 3rd level today, okay? The 3rd level. So, as we just scroll down, okay, here is the exhibition hall. Now, here we go. As you can see, this is the exhibition centre. Mm-hmm. So what can you see in the exhibition centre?
I can see the lights.
Yeah, everybody can see lights.
Yes, quite obvious.
Yeah, you can see lights. And you can see something written on the walls, some sort of writing, and there'll be some artifacts inside. But you said the lights. Mm-hmm. That is very interesting. What can you tell me about lights? What does a light do?
As to lighten something to make you look and see clearer.
Well, first of all, you walk into a room, you need to see, yes?
Yeah.
So you turn on the light, and it will brighten up the room. But these lights are very special, okay? Because not only can they go on and off, these lights have a special usage. Now, we're talking about history, okay? History. Now, if I had a pen and a piece of paper and I write something down, okay, and I leave it outside, now, light is going to affect it. My handwriting will fade and it will slowly disappear over time. Now, all the things in this exhibition hall are very old, but we still need to see them, okay? Now, depending on what is on display within this room, yeah, we have to look after it. It's all right putting it in a nice glass case. It's protected from people touching it and stealing it, maybe destroying it by accident, okay? But we have to preserve it at the same time. Now, these lights are extremely good because they are self-adjusting. They will adjust the lights, the heat, the brightness to protect and preserve the writings, the relics inside. Because these things are almost 100 years old, if not more. And what happens to these things? They fade. They lose their appearance. Over time, the color will go. And if not, like today, in today's world, okay, if you buy a red car, okay, you buy a red car and you park it outside every day, the color of your car will slowly change over time. This is natural effects of the sun's UV rays on your car. The car will, in fact, fade. The same as like we wash our clothes. You wear black and you put your black clothes in the washing machine. After a while, if you keep wearing them and wearing them, the color will start to fade. Your nice black dress or shirt will suddenly go from black and slowly turn grey until it loses its appearance and its true color. That is the same effect that will happen in this museum. So these lights can adjust to different items. So if this needs to be protected, they can turn down the light and how much natural light is getting to it to preserve it. Also, with the lights, they make it feel better and they keep everything looking the same. So each one of these can be different. They're not just the light to be turned on. Each one can be controlled to protect a special item. And even if we look above the lights, we have air conditioning. Yeah, air conditioning sounds quite a common thing. But remember, some of these things are very old. They cannot be kept in today's climate and temperature because they're from the past. They've been kept in a special environment, a certain temperature, so they have been preserved. And if you take that item and put it into a warmer place, you can actually destroy it. Not intentionally, but because it was preserved in a low temperature. So this room, the exhibition hall, has special glass to shield the light from things, stops us from touching it. We protect it. Even the air that is pumped around there and the temperature is also used to help preserve these special artifacts, okay?
Okay.
Right. Now, moving on. Relics, okay? Now, there are many relics we can see. Cups, bowls, plates. Now, to have these relics, the hall is very large, okay? Very large. And it's very advanced, okay? All the lights are special, can be adjusted by us to preserve and not damage the items involved. Now, historical items are also kept in this room, okay? Also kept in this room. Yeah, and they have a special atmosphere so they can be protected too. Now, museums and resorts are very important, okay, for countries. Most countries have a national museum or some sort of other museum. For example, England has the Globe Theatre, okay? It's not quite a museum, but the Globe Theatre is the historical site of William Shakespeare. That is where he wrote his plays, and that is his theatre. It was destroyed in the Fire of London many years ago and was relocated and rebuilt to its original standards so that we can remember our past, okay? Now, every country around the world has some sort of national museum to remember people or places or special events that happened. Now, for this museum, its special place is the last residing residence of the last emperor of China, okay? So it holds a very deep, important measure for that. Now, if we were to go to this museum, okay, we would see lots of things. We would learn lots of things. Now, people like to travel, yes? They like to go to places. And with our country, we are regenerating the past. We preserve the past. For example, the Great Wall. It's not one wall, it's 4. But it's so big that it's taken years to restore. People every day take photos of the wall so that we have a log of how to repair that wall the same way, exactly the same, maybe in 20 years' time. Replace a bit that's broken. Now, in May 2021, the average visitors to this place was 11,000 visitors to the Puppet Manchukuo Palace Museum. Now, that is an increase every year. More people are going. So it holds a special place now because it's one of the 3 major palaces. You've got one in Beijing, one in Shenyang, and now you have the last one in Changchun City, which is in Jilin province. Now, this museum, it does have a special place in our hearts, but it's also good for our economy, yes?
Yes.
If 11,000 people go there, they're going to spend money. They're going to buy things. So that will increase people's livelihoods. It will also help local businesses, food, shops, and it will also give people jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not only to sell food, but to look after a place this big, you need people to maintain it. Even from a manager all the way down to people who pick up rubbish, cut the grass, has to be preserved. So it's supplying people with a livelihood, money. Yeah, so as long as that museum stays open and people go, we are helping each other. We get to see the benefits of the past, and we also help provide people with a job. Are there any questions?
Okay, so you mentioning about to memorize people, events, or places. So this is more like the historical meaning for a museum, right?
Yes, but you can have a museum about anything. For example, there's museums around the world about aeroplanes.
Yeah, I heard that.
There's museums that are just purely to hold dinosaurs. You could have a museum about books. As long as you have something that people are willing to see that starts from its very beginning up until modern day world, it can be a museum. Some people live today in their houses. Okay, it sounds silly, but you could call their house a museum because it was built in 1920. Everything in that house has never changed. The same decor, the same plates, the same style, the same windows. That's very old. You could call it a museum. Now, there's even museums about spoons. So if you want to have a museum and keep something, will people see it? Does it contain its history? Can you explain its history? Does it have importance to you and other people? Who knows? It all depends on what you like. But for us, this museum is the final stage of our history of having an emperor. So the museum is very popular now because this is a big part of our history. So please go and visit it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.